Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. I have the pleasure of introducing to you the best Terran player in the world. It's the man, the myth, the Maru. Up against a historical challenger. They've played dozens of series throughout the years, dating all the way back to over a decade ago in Wings of Liberty. But today I introduce Dong Regu, aka DRG, to make things a little easier. Yes, a best of 3 in Wardy's Korean Royale. We'll see which of these two is able to come out on top. I have my suspicions. Okay, Maru's the clear favorite here. There's no question about that. Maru's the clear favorite against anyone who isn't named Cyril, or is a Terran player from China on a particularly incredible day. Now, I'm sure he's still... Well, he's actually said in interviews he's still very unhappy about that day. But maybe a little happiness will slip back into his life. Or another massive upset. Before I get excited about this, and all of you, well, many of you, I'm not going to generalize here. Some of you haven't figured it out yet, but many of you will realize why I'm so excited. And not because you already liked and subscribed. No. Maru's taking us to McDonald's, and we'll try to get at least some of that distilled knowledge, that trickle-down mechanomics that Maru will bestow upon us. This is a triple factory rush. This is, he went command center first with 3 CC. This is straight out of Wings of Liberty as well. The Overlord's going to come in. It's going to see at least 2 factories, and I think that's enough information to realize what's going on here. He started Blue Flame, canceled, went for Magfield Accelerator. For those Cyclones, DRG immediately starts a Roach Warren. Alright, so Maru taking us to McDonald's in Game 1. What are we going to see? Are we going to get that big mech, that battle mech? It's not Hyper Mech. It's not the Banshee style. And not Battle Cruiser. There's not a starport involved, not a starport inside, just straight up Cyclone Heli. So classical Hellclone battle mech. But focus on essentially bullying the Zerg units out of the way and just constantly taking some of the most cost-effective fights that you can across the entire map. Now, the big advantage for this sort of build is the initial surprise and just kind of running off that. If your opponent, and in this case DRG clearly scouted it, oh, not another one, a second drone caught moments before it creates the base. If your opponent sees it coming, they have time to build the Roach Horn, get some Zerglings out, maybe a Baneling Nest. Well, it makes it a lot harder to get that initial jump on their units. Makes it a lot harder to catch them off guard, because they know the Cyclones are coming. But in the beginning of the year patch, Cyclones got something of a buff. Though, if you ask Terran players, there's no such thing for Terran. The Magfield Accelerator does more damage, plus 10 to all targets, as opposed to plus 20 to armored, which means it now does bonus damage to Ravagers, to Queens, and to Zerglings, all of which are not armored. Roaches, on the other hand, will survive about 1 more hit, and buildings will not get murdered as quickly, but we've seen a handful of players really rely on this, though rarely going straight into the battle mech style. Maru has just its only factory, still no starport. The Ravagers on the way across. DRG gonna try to end this before it really gets started, which is a laudable goal and may very well be plausible here. He's catching some of these units, breaks down the supply depots. So far, the Hellions on the back line actually catching some of the Zerglings. I thought DRG would take them out with the Ravagers, but somehow they've survived. And now they're headed across the map. The Queens are going to soften up some of the rest. 3 Hellions still manage to get in. A few SCVs will go down. A handful of drones in trade. On the other side, the boys have been pulled. The Cyclones need some cover. 20 SCVs dead for Maru, so DRG with that element of... Well, he turned the tables on. You can't just go 3cc into Mass Factory. He gave away the whole build to the first Overlord. And well, Maru is... Okay. Maru plummets down 24 SCVs, which means, as of this moment, he's only up by 1. Wow. Wow. The SCV count is just exploded. How many? He lost 28 SCVs. He's currently, well, DRG just made a huge round of drowns. But while the attack was well-timed, it didn't actually do the critical damage. Maru did not slouch on SCV production at all, despite using them on the front lines. And DRG just recently built those rounds of drones that give him the lead here. So, he did force out, now very important, he forced out some siege tanks. And that might seem like a good thing for Maru. And for defense, yes. But for coming across the map with small amounts of units to put together an attack, the siege tanks are not nearly as useful. Because 2 or 3 siege tanks are not going to do much right now. Without those extra cyclones, which Maru's adding back in, he's not going to be able to make any sort of attack happen. And DRG really has held down the drone key now. 80 drones and counting, getting some more Zerglings. He's got a Spire on the way. So it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy start. And I think the attack could have been a little more coherent and done more than superficial damage. Yes, 30 SCVs, superficial damage to Maru. But in terms of dictating the pace of the game and taking the pressure off himself, DRG still successful here in getting his 4th base up, getting that drone count. He's got 13 mutas on the way. I've accused DRG of being stuck in Heart of the Swarm, which was when he had the most success overall. And it appears that his answer, I have not seen this. So Cyclones also do that extra bonus damage to mutas, as well as getting they now prioritize locking on to air units that are a threat. So mutas, void rays, battle cruisers, over ground units within a certain range. Like, they still have to be within a certain range. So mutas are not... It's not easy to close the distance on the clones. But this may very well be a numbers game as DRG's mass muta switch here. He's got 20 of them. 23 and counting. He's gonna go muta, ling, baneling. DRG so intimidated, he moves back his command center, realizing that this indeed is an existential threat. Knocks out one of the Widow Mines, but from downtown almost kills the mutas. Cyclone Mine. An unconventional, yet capable counter to the mutas. I said muta, ling, bling, but he's now... just now getting the baneling nest, adding that extra piece. DRG, when all you have is a hammer of mutas, lings, and banes, well, he's gonna try to find something that looks remotely like a nail. Oh, God. Widow Mine connects. God, he's got so many mutas. He's got 26 mutas. The Cyclone's gonna look to deal with some of them. Widow Mines. Oh, God. Oh, my. Oh, wow. Okay, well, the Widow Mine's doing what they do best here. SCV's gonna go down. He's not intimidated by the Cyclones, no matter how much maybe he should be. Getting on top of them now, trying to do the damage. Well, that was a nice way to do some limit testing there. The question was, is that enough mutas? And the answer was no. So obviously, DRG says we need more mutas, which is certainly a way to go about it. Apparently that's enough mutas. How many? Actually, that's a nice count to know. 10 mutas. 10 mutas with +1 one-shot of Widow Mine. That has +1 arm. Good to know. I don't recommend it. Oh, it looks like Maru's adding in 2 barracks. You know what that means? Mass Reaper. No. It's Ghost. It's for the Ghosts. Building armor on the way, though. The first thing out of the engineering bay. DRG. He refuses. He said, I will go. Muta, Ling, Bane. He had to make some Ravagers. Lost all the Ravagers. Muta, Ling, Bane. All right. Well, he's very good at it. It's just even the best usage. Like, no matter how good you are, no matter how much you've studied the blade, no matter how close, no matter how good you are at parrying your opponent's sword strikes, what if your opponent has like a 30-ton mech with an anti-air splash damage weapon? I'm not entirely... Well, we're gonna find out, because DRG has studied the Mutaling Bane, and he's jumping right on the Thors here. The Banelings are zoning out the Cyclones. He's getting some of the turn. There's another Thor in the main. They're doing terrible, terrible damage. And I really don't know who I was describing with that amount of damage, because both sides are taking a lot. Maru's holding. He's lost 16 SCVs, still at a comfortable 70 here. The engineering bay, which is researching building armor, may very well be taken out somewhat awkwardly. Not even sure why the engineering bay is right there. But he's going for the orbital, but still. At the end of he just doesn't build a hive. He does have an infestation pit. Accidental corruptor. Like Ricky the accidental swarm host for people who never build an infestation pit. Oh my god. The Cyclones locking on to the Mutas. It feels like, well, DRG keeps breaking through, but I keep having to ask the question, at what cost? Building armor is now done. Building armor. Building armor. That was Maru's first choice. And in very few scenarios is it a priority, but he hasn't even bothered with Ghosts. He has the Ghost Academy. He knows, against DRG, the most important thing is to just make sure he doesn't kill all your buildings. Because a Muta composition lends itself so much to the base traits. If DRG is not able to break down the front, I feel like he's going to end up going for the base trait. And Maru, I think, has that same idea in his head. He's trying to just lock everything down. Thing is, Maru hasn't really... Like, it's annoying. Mutas are like a particularly large dog barking in another yard. A dog that comes in and murders your space construction vehicles, but still, like, it's not the army you're most afraid of here as a Terran player. But Maru's supply, like, am I underestimating it? Because DRG is continually maxed. He refuses. Well, he's building an infestation pit now after 15 minutes and hundreds of dead units. And now he's on top of the Thors with the Roach Ravager. The Cyclones are helping a lot from the backline. 2-2 is done for the mech army here. Corrosive Bile hits a handful. Try to take down a turret, which the angle of the SCVs is actually the limiting factor there. And DRG, he keeps working his way through. His supply is... He's still maxed out. So... he keeps finding damage against Maru. And if one of these attacks goes particularly well, that could be the gap in the armor to just completely break the game open. And I think Maru's kind of... No one plays like this nowadays. This is thus my commentary as well. Nobody plays like this. Everybody's going to Lurkers or Vipers or Broodlords, whereas going to Hive Tech for DRG is like an admission of defeat. Like when a phone operator realized that they'd be replaced by basic machines. It's like, well, who's gonna connect you to the person you're trying to call? Okay, who's gonna do that? A machine? Well, joke's on you, because I don't answer my phone, because it's 2023 and they're all scammers. Well, I was trying to segue that into the destruction of the planetary, but couldn't find a comfortable way to do so, just like Maru can't find a comfortable way to mine from any of his outlying bases. The Mutas keep coming in. It's starting to really do damage. Maru's under 50 SCVs. He's only got like 1.5 mining bases. The main base is dried up. The natural is approaching it. The third base is continually under threat from the... Well, lining up the snipes, but the Mutas are able to escape. Hive is done, and what does he use it for? Adrenal glands. That's it so far. Oh, the Cyclones finally catch some of the mutas. And almost all of them. No. Maru, under siege. But still very much in it. He's got 3-3 mech. He's got 3-3 Hellchats. That means with the blue flame there, they one-shot Zerg. Everything in that cone of fire, quite literally. A cone of fire. Oh my god, a Viper. That's how you know things are serious. That's how you know DRG is serious about winning this game. He's building a Viper. This is a big step. Okay, from the guy who was willing to build at 80 mutas. Yeah, almost. Here we go. Not bothering with that Viper yet. The Banelings are rolling through. Maru losing most of his tanks. Gonna try to tap it with a couple snipes on the way out. Doesn't quite kill the last tank. There's still a few mutas in the back corner trying to sneak their way back in. Not gonna be enough. Well, maybe eventually these depots, the building armor depots. But there's that one Viper. All right. Cyclones will deal with the mutas. Even scans for it. And it's not like Maru has a huge amount of supply or economy right now. DRG has been mining from like his entire half of the map. Meanwhile, center. Banelings rolling through on the front lines. Ghost trying to hold the line. Siege tanks can do nothing but. More corrosive bios sprayed across the front. Ghost retreating further back. Line of snipes turns around and guns down the Ravagers though, as they stray a bit too far forward. The Banelings run out and the Ghosts are able to line up their shots. And now, past that center of the map, Maru feeling a little more confident. His army supply is the closest to DRG's it's been for most of the game. Maybe one or two Ghosts will die in the fray. Corrosive Bow knocks down a tank. I don't know where that Viper is. We've been waiting for it. The lauded Viper. Even two Infestors working their way into the production tab here. DRG. Usually we need at least 1,000 Zerglings dying. 69 mutas have died. DRG has lost 10,000 more minerals and 9,000 more gas. But he's also mined 10,000 more minerals and 7,000 more gas. Is this sustainable? No. But, and we just gotta keep asking, the royal but, which is not a phrase I care to repeat, because anyways. But if he kills Maru before Maru was able to take any of his outlying bases, it's all been worth it. All those extra lings and banelings and mutas and ravagers were worth it. Because cost efficiency doesn't matter if you're able to break them. And here we go again. DRG is nothing if not persistent. Maru, I think we've gone a little past the most dangerous point, which was where the mutas actually did threaten to overwhelm. At this stage, though, even though Maru's supply isn't looking incredible, he's got the army, he's got the upgrades. It's only going to get easier to defend these attacks, unless DRG is able to catch Maru completely unsieged or out of position. There's the Viper, a couple Infestors. Banelings rolling in, taken out. DRG creeping up to the main. Or not the main, the high ground there. In that center base. DRG also taking the gold. There are those gold bases on the sides. They don't have more minerals, but you can mine them very quickly, of course. Alright, DRG definitely having more struggle maxing out this time around, but here we go again. A couple Infestors at the back, maybe cloaks the Ghost at the front, deals with the Zergling counterattack, has to lift the orbital at the third for the umpteenth time. Still 87 drones. The income has been so incredibly far in favor of DRG for the last 10 minutes. But DRG is mining, like, he hasn't quite gotten to the production. And this army, I am just impressed by how much he's able to keep Maru back here. You wouldn't think that at some point, he just keeps managing to toe the line between too cost and effective. Yeah, he's down 12,000 minerals and 9,000 gas. But again, he's up 40 supply. Maru has mostly resigned himself to being so incredibly cost-effective that eventually DRG wears himself out. Or if Maru's able to max out. Like, look at the army supplies right now. They're dead even, and DRG can't get any more. Not without some fancy tricks. Well, the snipes are already opening up the fight. Not an auspicious start here for the Zerg player. Retreating with the drones. It does feel a bit desperate. But the Zerglings find another opportunity. Zerglings running back. I don't even know if that blocks. But Maru was able to take out the gold and now move his way finally up towards the high ground. The infestors are not quite in position to deal with this, but in comes the Viper. But EMP landed a split second before the fight. And with that, no blinding clouds. And with no blinding clouds, Maru was able to turn the tables. Yes, some of the siege tanks were lost, but most of the ghosts are still intact. The Hellbats are expendable. Trying to throw the fungals out. Maybe even kill another tank here. DRG building more lings and roaches. But the ghosts are still intact. They might not have any upgrades, but they can still use all their abilities. Zerglings again. It didn't block. It did not block the base from landing, rather. Maru down to 28 SCVs. Somehow DRG, I mean, Maru's leaving these mostly, or drop. Because there's nothing to really contest it. Not even any infestors left. A scan looking to see if the gold base was taken. DRG, his income lead has gone from overwhelming to merely mild. He's still got 1,000 more income. He's 14,000 down. He's lost over double the gas. 9k to 18.5. He's getting neural parasite for the infestors he's built. The misplaced Zergling actually ends up being one of the best scouts that DRG could ask for, as the army was just rallying there for funsies, I guess. 6 infestors on the way, more than we've seen for most of this game. The army gonna want to hold back until those infestors can participate. A few neural parasites on the tanks or the Thors or even the ghosts could turn the tide. The Zerglings get in again. Maru, how many times? This is, he's lost 172 SCVs? Oh my. That is, he's lost more SCVs than your average Bronze Leaguer builds in the whole season. Coming in again. There's just not that many more SCVs to kill. DRG is avoiding the fight. Not base trading in the way that I originally thought this game might end up. Oh my god. All the drones are burrowed with their various... I like the gas just sticking up out of the ground. What if you could just see that? You shouldn't target the drone, you just see the gas bubble. Well, the infestors will burrow. The ghosts see it. Oh no, the drones, oh no! Oh no! Devastation! Carnage, butchery! EMPs will land. The infestors wandering a little too far into the fight. DRG, when it's all said and done, runs out of options. Despite killing 172 SCVs, 725 Zerglings, 69 Mutas, 200 Banelings went down. Well, in true to form, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the straight-to-factory mech. I feel the starport provides a ton of options that another factory of mech doesn't. Maru almost dead to the original Ravager push. Because DRG is able to put together that Ravager timing and almost get his way up the ramp. And then, continually, I think DRG, in my defense, I think Maru was surprised at the strength of DRG's attacks. Because over and over and over again, he was able to break the lines. But he wasn't quite able to break into the base. And his army definitely had an expiration date. And eventually, Maru came calling. But, still, a lot closer than I expected when I saw these two matched up. I thought it'd be a lot of fun. And the end result of Game 1 is kind of as expected, but that is why we play a bit longer. Jimmy, please. A bit longer series. Unless Maru decides to go 3-Rex Reaper, in which case it could see a relatively quick conclusion. It's just two. Two at the front for now. I do love DRG's thought process. It's like those mutas weren't quite enough to break the cyclones. But have we tried second mutas? I don't think there's really any better muta players out there right now. Partially because no one goes for them, but because it is just in general. I always feel so old when I say, like, back and hard in this one, because that's 8 years ago now. But back in the day, over half of StarCraft 2's life ago, we started with 6 workers. And the economies did not scale up nearly as quickly, which means even a handful of mutas could get in and do devastating damage to the economy. They kill 5-8 SCVs. That's like that's maybe almost a quarter of your SCV count. But getting in and killing 5-8 SCVs, the window is smaller because players are able to tech up quicker because of that higher economy. And killing that amount of SCVs is not nearly as much of an impact because usually, as Maru has demonstrated, so often, 3 command centers are not that hard to come by. So even when you kill 30 SCVs, you might not even have a worker lead. Well, speaking of worker leads, Maru looking to get in, kill some drones. He's got the Reapers dancing with the Queens. It's a bit of an aggressive dance from both of them. They're both strong personalities. Reapers are dangerous, but shouldn't be deadly. A lot of players have different ideas of how to counter it, because it's not the full all-in. Overlord came in, spotted the command center timing, so that was the important part for realizing whether or not it would just be continued Reapers. Maru ends up losing one of the Reapers. He's got a 3rd command center. On the way, he picked up the Rax to go deal with the Overlord, which is interesting. Oh my god, they're the worst. They escape. Tech Lab on the way. Finishes up, and now lining up for a 2 medevac time, but I think he'll build something out of the factory first, as he doesn't have nearly enough Marines right now. We'll see, though. Yeah, double Hellion. DRG has defended the Reapers. It was annoying, but his drone count is looking healthy. About to hit that 50 mark. And a 3rd base online. DRG was quite adamant about his creep spread in the previous game. The mechanics are clearly there. It's just, wow. He loves his Lings and Banes. And Lisks. And Lisks. Never forget the Lisks. They'll pop up like in a cinematic. If I had to count the amount of times in a StarCraft 2 cinematic, Hydralisks, which are like 12 feet tall, suddenly appearing dramatically out of nowhere, only to get killed by a protagonist. Well, there aren't that many cinematics, but it's like an inordinately high percentage of them, so... Baneling nest on the way. What is it in? It's a Hellion drop behind? Interesting. Quite late for a Hellion drop. But I don't think he's relying so much on the timing as the element of surprise. And somehow, DRG actually sent a Ling to scout. But it was a bit late. And those few seconds could cost him a lot of his drones. 3, 4... get off my... Oh my god. Medevac? Oh no, the queens! Oh no! No, he's like, I need to inject. Oh god, the mechanical habits. Oh, DRG. It kicked in. Oh my god, his muscle memory. That was it. Oh, I could come up with a word. Words. But his muscle memory kicked in. He's like, eject. And the queens that were probably needed to kill that badly bruised medevac were pulled to their duty of spawning more larvae for Zerglings, because this is DRG we're talking about. And let's be honest here, killing that one medevac full of Hellions was probably not going to turn the tide of the game. These 2 medevacs full of Marines, though, are a little more likely to do so. Does he have any vision? The map is dark. And full of Terrans. Into the main. That one spot, the most important one, where he just keeps dropping in. Oh my. Well. The medevacs are holding the line. Stim pack enough to gun down so many Zerglings. Banelings waddling into the 3rd. Not finding much more than 2 SCVs. And he just drops back out in the corner of the main. Oh no. Combat shield isn't done. 1-1 on the other hand, though. Very much is. And the Marines hunt down. Oh, what a save! For now. Medevac? Oh my. Strong gust of wind could get that medevac. But unfortunately, the day is calm. And the medevac will escape. Infestation pit for DRG. Does he want ultras? Doesn't even have baneling speed yet. Getting an infestation pit. Oh my god, dropping individual Marines. So, 1 Marine can eat 2 baneling hits, which far balances out the cost. I guess technically you can pick it up after 1, but the expendables. 2 infestation pits. That's how serious he is about infesting things. Or how short-term his memory loss is. 2 infestation. So clearly he wants to go this direction. Unfortunately, has yet to notice either of them finishing. Where are the banelings going? The banelings are just rolling off. Come back. There's Marines here. And Hellbats. A dangerous push, but shouldn't be a deadly one if DRG is able to set up this flank correctly. Looking to cut off some of the reinforcements. Starting to get really dicey. He's losing the base. Ooh, he lost the hatchery there. Here comes the flank. Ooh, nice target. Picks up the Marines, gets out, drops back. There's not that many banelings left over. We'll deal with it. Joins up with reinforcements. And DRG, I don't know if he's going to have enough here. Oh, Maru's kind of... medevacs are good. Maru almost getting overrun, but... Oh my. Such slick Marine micro. Watching Maru handle his mech army was like watching an F1 driver drive a semi-truck. That's my impression now, especially compared to his Marine, well, just Marine tank micro. There's only so much room for finesse, especially with that Thor-based army. But clearly Maru in his element here, as DRG is struggling to compete. He's now lost 2 key hatcheries. And a lot of drones with him, though still at a healthy count. And try to cut off some of the reinforcement. Oh, beautiful split. Just keeps... Oh, textbook. Try not to split until the banelings show up, so that way you can maintain the DPS on the Zerglings. And even though DRG wins a slight part of the battle, Maru is running away with the war right now. Those infestation pits never... He built 2 of them and neither of them came into play. Maru just laid the pressure on too strongly. I am incredibly, Maru comes in, the Executioner's X-Pulse. And the Marines cut down enough Lings and Banes to solidify a victory. That game 1, a little dicier than expected. Maru's mech, or maybe just mech in general, not able to withstand the onslaught. But game 2, a clear and decisive victory for the best Terran with the best Marine micro. Just not making it not even look close. Well, still a fun set of games here. Thank you, Wardy, for putting all these tournaments on. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I made your day a little bit better. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.